Hello, I'm Dave and this is Logan, out once again for a walk in the countryside. Thanks for joining us. Now today we're at the pretty town of Beaminster in Dorset. It's located about 15 miles northwest of Dorchester and 6 miles north of Bridport. And we're going to be walking a roughly 5-mile circular route. We'll start with a look at a few things in the town before heading north uphill to join the Wessex Ridgeway, where we should get some great views. We'll then head east to the edge of Beaminster Down, and at Lake House Farm we'll then head west, joining the Hardy Way and following the course of the River Brit back to the town. Now I'm filming at the end of July. The sun is up there, but at the moment it's quite an overcast day. Fingers crossed the clouds going to go away. Should be perfect conditions for walking. Do come along with us. Now before we start, shall we see what Sir Frederick Treves had to say about the town in his 1906 book Highways and Byways in Dorset. Got to need me glasses for this. Beaminster is a clean, cheerful, self-respecting county town without pretensions and without offensively modern houses and without red brick suburbs. There are a few thatched cottages in the streets, but Beaminster mostly affects a cosy yellow-brown stone and ruddy tiles for its dwelling places. No two houses in the town are alike. They belong mostly to the early part of the 19th century and are much given to stone porticos and ample bow windows full of red geraniums. Beaminster is never puffed up and never obtrusive, while it is sufficiently old-fashioned to call a girls' school and he quotes, young ladies' seminary. The pride of Beaminster is not its queer little square, nor that fine farmer-haunted inn of stone, the White Hart, but all such conceit as it may harbour is centred upon the church, and especially upon its glorious tower, which is unrivalled in the county. This gracious golden brown tower is worth a pilgrimage to see. Well, I think he quite liked the place. Well, I've parked my car at the Barton Car Park in the centre of town. Let's go for a little wander. Well, the town of Beaminster has certainly got a lot of history. It was possibly known as Beaminster in Saxon times, the church of Beeb. I think, either St. Bea or Beg was an Irish princess who founded a monastery in Cumbria. At the time of the Domesday Book, when it was owned by the Diocese of Salisbury, it was recorded as Beaminster. The beam bit derives from a tree, and of course it was Thomas Hardy's Eminster in his book Tess of the D'Urbervilles. Originally it was a market town that became a centre for the production of linen and woolens in the 19th century. Flax was grown in nearby fields, and sheep were raised locally, but it suffered from tremendous fires over the years, with 3 major fires in 1644, 1684 and 1781. Well, one thing that Beaminster certainly had a lot of in days gone by were pubs. Indeed, there were something like 17 pubs in the town in the early 20th century, although many were just beer houses. And this building in front of me here was originally a pub, and I think it was called the Swan Inn. And although it's got town offices written above the door now, I think it might be the library, although I'm not 100% sure. And there on the northern side of the market square, the Greyhound Inn, one of the oldest pubs in the area. I think it's been there since the 1700s. And on the eastern side of the market square, the Red Lion. And one source suggests that there may have been a pub there in the 18th century, but I see there's a date on the wall that says 1824. And this building here on the sort of western side of Market Square used to be the Pickwick's Inn. It closed in 2008 and is now the Brassica restaurant. I think it was originally actually called the King's Arms. And right in the middle of the Market Square is the Market Cross, erected in 1906. Now, I think there was a market house around here originally, but that was demolished in 1886. And another former pub, the White Hart, which used to be a coaching inn. The building dates from the 19th century, but it closed as a pub in 1999. And another building that used to be a pub, it used to be the Star Inn, now well, on the right hand side called Star Cottage. Lovely to see it's still got the old pub sign holder outside up on the wall there. Just coming down Church Street, this house in front of me here, Bell House, that used to be a pub. I think it was, well, originally it was called the Five Bells. Until there were some bells recast in the mid-18th century at the church, and then it became the Eight Bells pub. And at the end of Church Street is the Church of St Mary. Now, the east part of the north aisle is the oldest bit. That goes back to the 13th century. The chancel was rebuilt in the 15th century when the west part of the nave was extended and the north and south aisles rebuilt. The North Chapel was rebuilt in 1505 and the tower built in 1520, although I did see one source suggest 1502. The vestry is from the mid-16th century and the whole church was restored in 1860 and 1889. I believe the porch is modern. Now, Arthur Mee, in his King's England Dorset book, published in 1939, said, and I quote, "The church tower is one of the finest in the county, like a stately cliff of golden stone, pinnacled and canopied and joyously adorned with sculptures of the Madonna, Crucifixion, Resurrection and Ascension." I think it's now got 10 bells. And I did read that following the Duke of Monmouth's unsuccessful rebellion in 1685, the bloody assizes held at Dorchester condemned several local men to be hanged from the church tower. Okay, well, we'll have a very quick peep inside. There's the font just by the door, which I believe is Norman. A beautiful church. Inside, some terrific stained glass windows. Look at the one there at the tower end. And then just coming through the nave, we've got the, it looks as though it's quite a modern looking organ there. I'm not an expert by any means, of course. And in the corner there, quite magnificent wooden pulpit. And, wow, some more terrific stained glass windows just by it. And then just coming into the chancel, wow. Look at that for a stained glass window above the altar. And right next to the church are the old almshouses, and they were built in 1630. Well, I've just bumped into a regular viewer, Judith, out with her husband and her dog walking around the town. It was lovely to meet you, Judith. And of course, she is now the proud owner of a limited edition Dave's Countryside Walks badge. Okay, well, we're now going to head out into the countryside, initially heading northwards. Well, just by the path that heads out of town is well, the Holy Trinity Church. That was a chapel of ease to St Mary's. It started to be built in 1849 and was consecrated in 1851, but it was made redundant in 1978 and is now residential. Looks like it's called Trefoil House, and well, there's obviously refurbishments going along. I think it might be in the process of being converted from one house to two houses, but I'm not sure. Oh wow, look at this. This is just by the footpath we're heading northwards, and this is Whatley Pond. Now Whatley Mill shows on a 1903 map as a corn mill, but I did read that at one time it was involved in sailcloth manufacturing. Obviously the mill's long gone, but beautiful pond still remains. Well, we're just crossing over a little stream. It's one of the forks of the upper stages of the River Brit. Now, the Brit's 9.5 miles long, and there's a few springs that feed this northern fork. There are a couple of other northern forks, and we'll see the eastern fork later on. But the river flows south to Netherbury and then Bridport and then out to sea at West Bay. I think a couple of other smaller rivers join it along the way. Well, this beautiful thatched house through there, I think is part of Meerhay Manor. Not sure the pronunciation, but it dates to the 16th century. It was rebuilt in 1610 and then additions made to it in the 17th century. What a pretty little cottage, and what a fascinating carving above the door there. Ebenezer, it says. Well, a little pit stop to provide an update on the route. We're climbing uphill on an old sunken track. It's quite shaded, although it's very humid today. And we're actually on part of the Wessex Ridgeway, which is that 136-mile long-distance path that runs from Lyme Regis in Dorset to Marlborough in Wiltshire. Whew, we've made it to the top of the ridge. There's a lovely old wheel here with Buckham Down written on it. I'm pretty sure that television personality Martin Clunes lives around these parts. Indeed, Martin and his wife used to run a lovely fair called the Buckham Fair on land that they owned along the ridge here. It was an ancient, old-fashioned fair, very much concentrating on dogs and horses. I think the first one was in 2008, but the last one was in 2018. I know I went to a couple, they were great fun. It's a shame they aren't run anymore. Okay, well, we're going to start heading eastwards, a little bit of road work. Hopefully we should start to get some great views now. While I mentioned there's some terrific views from up here, I don't know if this is coming well across on screen because there are still quite a few dark clouds about, but believe you me, it is quite a breathtaking vista. And yeah, I can just about see the sea in the far distance. continuing to make our way eastwards along the top of this ridge. In front of me here, a crop of maize, which, well, it's beginning to catch up a little bit. Where are we? End of July. It's got a bit of growing to do. Well, this is as far east as I'm going on the walk. We now drop down into a valley heading southwards. Looks like we're on the Hardy Way, which is that 220-mile long distance path that winds its way through Dorset, connecting places that have got a link with author and poet Thomas Hardy. It starts at Higher Bockhampton, where he was born, and finishes at Stinsford Churchyard, where his heart is buried. But from here, well, the views to the south are quite amazing. I mean, when the sun does come out, it certainly brings these scenes out in all their glory. So we're going to drop down to a place called Lake House Farm. On a 1903 map it shows that well, there was a farm here called Shatcombe Farm, but I believe the buildings were demolished, and the Lake House Farm is relatively new. Oh, what a gorgeous lake the farmhouse has got just in front of it, with lilies. What a view they've got as well. Another little pit stop. Had to take in this view. So this is looking over to the east. I think the Hardy Way actually goes along the bottom. We're on a little permissive footpath that goes along the top of this valley. So we're very much on the homeward leg now, heading south back to Beaminster. But quite a breathtaking view, isn't it? Well, we have been heading south, making our way through fairly thick woodland, and we're just crossing another stream. I reckon this must be the eastern fork of the River Brit. Aha, an opportunity just to cool down. All right, almost above chest level. It's been quite a warm day, so some fresh water and a chance to, well, I was going to say get his paws wet, but most of his legs are wet now. Is that good, fella? He says, "You bet, Dad." And here we are back at Beaminster, coming in from the east. Now just over the wall there I can see the top of the manor house. Now, I think there was a manor house there before the current one, but certainly this one was built in the 18th century and enlarged in 1822. And there's a huge site behind it, something like 25 hectares that spreads north and northeast. And I think there's a huge lake there as well. Oh, isn't that quite idyllic there? Manor Cottage. I love the wisteria outside. Gorgeous. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but I think this building here, Angel Cottage, was another one of these buildings that was a pub, the Crown Inn. And here we are back at the centre of Beaminster at our final destination, the Red Lion pub. We had the choice of the Red Lion or the Greyhound, so we went for the Red Lion. Of course, we've had to visit that purely for research purposes for the video, testing out their Dorset Gold. Very nice too. Now, they do have crisps, but not Piper's crisps, and well, Reaper chili and lime. Luckily, I've got some doggy dips. Ooh. Oh, are they that bad? Let's try it. Oh, God blimey, it's hot. Well, folks, we've come to the end of our walk. We thought we'd do the end scene here, up on the ridge, looking over to the south and the sea in the far distance. We hope you enjoyed our walk. If you did, please do give us a thumbs up and a like, and do leave a comment, and do check out our Facebook page, Dave's Countryside Walks. So until we meet again, thanks for watching, and cheerio. Good boy. Sweetie time? Yeah.